Hello and welcome back to a Liv Texera production. So today, as you can tell from the title, we are talking all things relationships. So with that, what that entails, we are going to be talking about relationship tips, lessons, the do's, the don'ts, and some guides to relationships, especially in regards to starting them and what that looks like in practicality. So the first few dates, first few months, first few years, that kind of vibe. Not necessarily like the long-term stuff, but what is indicative of a good sign that this could be a long-term thing. So these are things that I've learned in my own life. These are things that I've learned through my clients and also watching my friends pick and choose different people in relationships and then also leaving people. So let's get into it. So the idea, the overarching theme that I want to get across is that all of these relationships that you have in life should uplift you. They should make your life better. They should make your life easier. But most importantly, they should make you significantly happier. The goal of any, whether it's a romantic relationship or a friendship, is to make your life better, to make you happier, to make you feel more you. I believe that there's some ways that you should feel and there's some ways that you shouldn't feel. And while everything is kind of like subject to differences and there's always exceptions, I think overall, most people would agree with most of these things. So overall, how should you feel? You should feel safe. You should feel positive. You should feel like you have an encouraging partner and a loving partner and somebody that you're excited to see regularly, somebody that is sweet and thoughtful and makes you a more confident, fully chosen version of yourself. You should be with somebody that is your absolute best friend, somebody that you're passionate about, somebody that you have a consistent, committed, and safe relationship with, somebody that is both patient and loving and kind and good to you on your bad days. I think we spend so much of our lives with our significant other and our friends. You need to pick really good friends and you need to pick a really kick-ass, amazing significant other. If not, your life is gonna suck. I promise you. So it should be more peaceful and more fun than any other choice you could make. And you should feel that way in the really big moments where it's like extravagant and fun and all of those things, but also on the very little moments, the tiny moments of life, the little Sunday morning laying in bed, so to speak. If you are getting into relationships, if you are dating, if you are feeling things out, these are some of the things that you should not feel. Everybody goes through hardships. Everybody has their up days and their down days. So there is always grace with this, but these are things that you should not feel most times. They're definitely things that you should not feel regularly. So you shouldn't be second guessing. You shouldn't feel unsure. You shouldn't be unhappy or sad or miserable. You should not feel frustrated. You should not feel disconnected. You should not, under any circumstances, feel neglected and not cared for. You should not feel unimportant in this person's life. Of course, these things happen in little tiny moments here and there. That's like the human experience, of course. But these are not things that you should feel regularly. When it comes to red flags and green flags, I have the most brief red flags, which is very funny because if you know me personally, you know I'm very controversial when it comes to relationships and I'm very outspoken, I would say. When I see something that I'm just like, that doesn't make sense, that doesn't work, that's not a good fit for XYZ reasons. But my red flags are actually pretty basic for the reason that it's not much. Like it's very much just like meat and potatoes. It's the very basic things that you just want to avoid. And what I had kind of jotted down was flaky or inconsistent behavior. So if you're not sure where you stand with someone, if it's one way one day and it's different another day, that is not somebody you want in a relationship. Number 2, mean or negative or condescending or any of those things that you would group with those words. If somebody is like that, if you would describe somebody in a relationship like that, run for the hills. And then thirdly, if they lack integrity and honesty, don't necessarily think This is one that you can change. This is one that you can really waver on. There's so many different like red flags that are not real red flags. They're just like preferences in relationships. I think these are 3 things that you absolutely need if you want a relationship to be successful. And if you see that early in the relationship where somebody's lacking integrity and they're lacking honesty and they're lacking any of those things, whether it's the consistency or you're seeing any kind of mean, negative, demeaning behavior, run for the hills. There's nothing there for you. It does not matter what that person has been through and why they're doing the things they're doing. Hit the road, babe. You got nothing there for you. So like I said, I'm going to keep my red flags short and sweet and to the point. Some green flags. This is probably my favorite because I think at the beginning, it should be really fun. It should be really exciting. It should be so much fun getting to know someone and starting the dating process and then starting like the serious dating process and having those conversations and letting that relationship build. So one of my favorite things is having similar interests and similar life goals. You want to look at that person and be able to say, you're going to live a similar life to me. You have similar goals. You have similar interests in health and wellness and life and all of the things that I care about, you care about. We share similar life goals and similar values. Values are so incredibly important. And if you can find somebody that shares your values, then you don't need to fight this uphill battle of trying to make someone see things the way you see things. You already value the same things in life. It makes everything else so much easier. All right, the next one, I love this one so much. So choosing fast. I believe that there is a level, and I know that there's love bombing out there, and I know that there's like crazy people that say I love you in a day. Sometimes it works out, most of the time it doesn't. There's always exceptions, but there should be a level of showing consistent commitments. So that's something that's going to build over time. At first, it's going to be small commitments like showing up and being the type of person that you say you are and getting to know each other and all of those things. After a little while, those commitments are more of like, I am committed to you. I know me and my boyfriend have such a sweet story, and we have like this pivotal moment that we think of where it's like, we're kind of like in this, okay, you know, what are we doing? We're really liking each other, whatever. And he was just like, Liv, I like you. And I don't really care about anybody else. And I want to be with you. So this is what I'm doing. Take it or leave it. You do what you want to do, but this is what I'm doing. There is this slow progression of commitment. It's not day one. It's not, oh my God, I want you to be my girlfriend. I want you to be my boyfriend. It is this slow, but very consistent progression of commitments. I hope I'm explaining that right, but I've definitely told some other friends when they were starting relationships, like, you'll just feel so confident in the next step. There will always be something that you're excited about, but you will consistently be excited about just that next step and just that next commitment. And everything just feels so natural and so safe and so secure, but also so exciting. So you also want to find somebody that has a good head on their shoulders. You want somebody with a good life and a good head on their shoulders and a good future. There's no way around it. Like, you do not want somebody that you have to put a Band-Aid over. You do not want to fix her up, or you do not want somebody that you have to put all of this work into. A genuine adult healthy relationship is enough work in and of itself, because each person is working to be the best version of themselves. You do not need a project. You do not need to put all of your energy and focus into making someone else great. Make yourself great, and that will show you the reward. That will reap rewards far beyond what you can think. But find somebody with a good head on their shoulders and a good future and good direction. And once again, same morals, similar values, integrity, all of those things. Okay, another good sign at the very beginning, open, honest communication within the first few weeks and the first few dates and the first few months. You should be telling each other hard truths, meaning things that are honest, things that are vulnerable, things that they might not want to hear, but you are being honest. You're telling the truth. You are forthcoming. I think these are some of the best things that you can see early on in a relationship. Another one is someone that respects you deeply from the very beginning. I believe it's really difficult because I believe that respect is initial. Like right when you meet the person, you have a gauge and then it builds over time. So it's both, right? Like it doesn't start at 0. You don't not respect the person. I think it starts at like some weird baseline and then builds and builds and builds. But if there is no respect, there is nothing. And I think it's very different for both men and women, but I think it's equally important. It is absolutely vital to the success of any relationship that you deeply respect your partner. And on the flip side of that, yes, you must respect your partner, but you also want somebody that loves you so deeply for you and hypes you up for the person that you are. There's absolutely nothing I hate seeing more, and I've seen it with men and women on all fronts in all different ways. I hate seeing people dull themselves down to try to fit into a box because that's what their partner prefers. If that's what your partner prefers, then your partner likely should be with somebody else. There's no ifs, ands, or buts to that. I think that your partner should see the worth in you. They should see the uniqueness and the individuality in you, and they should love you for fully you. My next one's always a little controversial, but I believe that you should be each other's type. I believe that there should be a level of this is the type of person that I want to be with. Whether it doesn't just need to be physical, although physical is very important. I believe that you need to be incredibly attracted to one another. I think that you need to be attracted to your mind, your heart, and the way they physically present. And it doesn't matter if it's a guy or girl. It's equally important and it 100% matters. But you want to be that person's type, and you should be with somebody that is your type. You should be with somebody that is like, when you think of the ideal guy or the ideal girl, you should think of this person, not just physically, but mentally, how they act, how they behave, how they carry themselves. You should be with somebody that you dream to be with. You should not be with somebody that you're settling to be with. I mean, trust me, that's another point in and of itself. I will talk about it. Like, please do not settle. It is the one area in our lives that just matters the most. It is who you potentially have children with, who you live with, who you spend 90% of your time laying in the same bed, having dinners with, going to birthdays, going to Christmases, going to events, weekends, everything. It is so important to be with somebody you truly love and enjoy and respect and admire. And finally, I will add as well, when it comes to the whole type thing, I know some people get a little tight about that, but the truth is, you don't want to be with somebody that you have to convince to love you, convince to be in a relationship. You want to be with somebody that just deeply loves you for you. And some little tidbits of advice that I wanted to throw in here before we chit chat about some of the responses that I got on Instagram that were so good. But here it is. I believe that you should always be willing to walk away, especially at the beginning, especially when you're getting to know someone, especially when you're dating, especially when you're in the beginning of the I love yous and all of that. You should always be willing to walk away. I think that you should have that attitude in a sense. You should have the attitude in the sense of you are willing to walk away if your needs are not fulfilled. If what you need out of a relationship is not fulfilled, you should be willing to walk away. I will say though, of course, if you're in a committed relationship and you're choosing to be with this person, then you're in it. You're doing it. You're committed, you're all in. But in the beginning, you should absolutely be willing to walk away, but you should not want to. I think that's what makes a relationship great, is two people coming together, being willing to walk away. They're whole and complete all on their own, but they come to this relationship and give their all, and they'd rather do life together than apart. And then also, these are just themes that I've seen in a lot of my clients, a lot of my friends, and they're just things that I'd like to say because I think that they serve a purpose. So a little bit of advice for women. Don't nag, don't jab with your words, don't try to cut them short in any way, shape, or form. I think that your man secretly always wants to impress you and be your man. I think for men, don't belittle and don't ignore your girl's feelings and the things that she expresses and the things that she wants. I think that your girl in any situation wants to know that you have your back and you're there to listen and support her and hear her. These are things that I've just noticed amongst the genders when it comes to my clients. So take it or leave it up to you. I think an overarching piece of advice that I would give is be kind and be empathetic and try to ask more questions and make less assumptions, because that is a person that you love at the end of the day and you want to be able to meet in the middle on all things. And of course, per very usual Liv advice, never settle. I think that it's the biggest decision that we make in life, and so often I see people settle, and I think that's devastating, and I think that that's heartbreaking. I think if you're listening to this, that's not really your vibe. That's not what you're trying to do in life, in any area of life, but especially in your relationships, which makes me so incredibly happy, because I think settling is the absolute worst thing that we can do to ourselves in our lives, and especially in our relationships. So never settle, because you deserve the love that you're so willing to give. Anyways, now I will pull out my phone and I will look at some of your responses. I'm picking out my favorite ones. So, number 1, never talk bad about your significant other to friends. Figure out your relationship problems together. This was submitted by somebody with a Z first name. I'm not doing everybody's first name because I feel like that's just too personal. So I'm just doing that. And then if you think I can say their first name, then I will. But I just get nervous. I never want to say something somebody doesn't want to say. But I love this. I think you absolutely 100% needs to figure out your issues as a couple. You have to have open, honest communication. You have to be realistic. You have to be humble. You have to be guard down and what is the word I'm looking for? No defensiveness. You have to just listen to your partner and hear them out and work things through together. If you feel the need to bitch enough to your friends, then maybe that should tell you something. However, if you're in a bad relationship, please talk to your friends, because maybe they're the only ones that will talk some sense into you. So that's a whole different thing. But if you're in a good relationship, you do always want to talk positively about your significant other, because they are your better half. They're literally the person that you chose to be with. You chose them. Let's see. Okay, so I really like this one too. Become the person you want to attract. And they put in parentheses, habits, fitness, spirituality. This is from V. I'm struggling to not say their name. This is so stupid. I really should just say names. But anyways, I love this. Be the person that you want to attract. Be the type of person that type of person would stop in the middle of a store, in the middle of a bar, in the middle of whatever, be like, I need to get to know you. I love this because in all areas of life, you have to become the person that is capable of doing X, Y, and Z. And it's the same thing in relationships. You have to become the person that is capable of having that relationship. So healing yourself, working on yourself, being the best version of yourself, all of those things are going to be excellent uses in relationships. Another good one, stay true to yourself and your lifestyle, all the things that are important to you. That was from Jay. This is so difficult. I don't know why I'm doing this. All right, this one's really sweet, and I really like it because we don't talk about it enough. This one's from S. Even though relationships end, they don't have to be bad. I don't know if that's to say all are a lesson and wonderful memories. Something along the lines of that. It's hard to read, but I love this. There are so many times, there's a lot of shitty relationships, shitty men and shitty women, shitty people that are together, shitty combinations of people that just bring out the worst in each other. I think that's probably the most common. And they end, and sometimes they end poorly, and sometimes they should end poorly. Sometimes that's part of it. But there are a lot of relationships that simply just end because you decide there's something better out there for both of us, and we're not the best fit. And although we love each other and care about each other, there's just not a future here for us, and that's okay. So I love that. Thank you for that submission. So T submitted this. Thank you, T. She said, no competition. Your partner is your teammate. I think that is so good in so many areas of life. There is no better or worse. There is no competition. There is no you or me. There is literally just us. We are a team. This might be one of my favorites. This one is from D. They said they must be, you must be, they must be, whatever, kind, actively listen to each other. Each person has a different outlook on situations. Some simple things may be really important to the other person, even if it's not to you. I love this. I love this. I love this. This is a lesson I've definitely learned the hard way, on both ends, trying to explain it to people and then also trying to work on it myself. Sometimes you literally just have to do things because it makes the other person happy. And sometimes they have to do things for you because it literally makes you happy. And there's no rhyme or reason. There's no reason. There's no nothing. Sometimes you just have to truly listen to what the other person is asking for once you peel back all of the layers. They also said be patient and lead with love and trust yourself enough to leave if or when you ever need to. Love, love, love that, because me and some of my friends talk about that. It's not about trusting the other person. It's about trusting yourself enough to know when it's time to leave. So there was also another one. Where did the other one go that I was going to answer? Oh, they just asked about long distance relationships. So me and my boyfriend did long distance at the beginning of our relationship, and I don't really know what my advice is there, because I think if you're a good fit for each other, all the rest of the things in the relationship world are going to work themselves out. If you get along with each other, if you have good communication, if you prioritize each other, it's all the same stuff as a regular relationship. There's just the aspect of missing each other, of course. I didn't do it like years. I did it for the first few months of the relationship, so I also think that's a lot easier. I obviously still missed him so much. We were so excited to see each other. It was a very exciting way to start a relationship, but I don't know how you do that after years. I think that's a whole different thing in and of itself. But anyways, that is going to be it for this episode. So thank you guys so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed it. I also think at some point, something that I've done with a lot of people now, probably more than I can even articulate, is help them come up with like the perfect person for them. So help them come up with the lists and the ideas and creating that like vivid vision for people. So maybe I'll do an episode on that in the near future, but that is it for this episode. Thank you guys so much for listening and tuning in. If you do follow me on some type of platform that you can leave a review, I would appreciate it so greatly. And you can always send it to me and I'll literally say, thank you so much. I appreciate you so much, because that is awesome. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you for all of the support in the relaunch of this podcast. I have been loving it and enjoying it. And hopefully down the line, we have even more guests that are experts in their own field. We'll leave it at that. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. I will talk to you soon. Bye.